Cronos: The New Dawn is a third-person survival horror game developed and published by Bloober Team and released on September 5th of 2025. Bloober Team has been active since 2010, steadily building a catalog that ranged from smaller experiments to more focused horror experiences, but their real turning point came with Layers of Fear in 2016. Since then, they've explored different corners of the genre with Observer, Blair Witch, and The Medium, gradually refining their voice. After the success and renewed respect earned with the Silent Hill 2 remake in 2024, expectations were high, and Cronos: The New Dawn feels very much like a studio stepping forward with confidence. Rather than leaning on an existing license, Bloober delivers an original sci-fi horror experience that blends old-school survival mechanics with a bleak retro-futuristic identity.
Conflict will always become a society. Conflict.
Society.
Eternity means the infinite time that never ends. Eternity.
Endless.
Dark.
Dark.
Trial completed.
The story centers on the Traveler, designated ND-3576, an agent working for a shadowy organization known as the Collective. Sent into a ruined future, the Traveler's mission is to locate time rifts that allow passage back to 1980s Poland, extracting the essences of key individuals before a catastrophic event known as the Change reshapes humanity into grotesque beings called orphans. The narrative unfolds slowly through exploration, environmental clues, scattered logs, and restrained but effective voice acting. At its core, the story questions whether survival through collectivism is worth the cost of individuality. As the Traveler ascends more souls, their own sense of identity begins to blur, constantly asking whether these missions are acts of salvation or exploitation. What makes the storytelling particularly engaging is how it trusts the players to piece things together. The Traveler is a stoic, by-the-book character, shaped by protocol and duty, and their calm, almost detached delivery contrasts sharply with the emotional weight of what's being uncovered. Themes of memory, guilt, redemption, and the value of human life are woven directly into gameplay systems rather than delivered through heavy exposition. The tension between preserving individual souls and enforcing a unified future gives the narrative a thoughtful edge that lingers long after the credits roll, especially as player choices subtly influence how events and motivations are interpreted. From a gameplay perspective, Cronos: The New Dawn firmly plants itself in classic survival horror territory. It's a deliberate, methodical experience where ammo, healing items, and inventory space are constantly in short supply. Exploration is short and cautious, pushing players through enemy-infested corridors, puzzle-filled environments, and branching paths that reward curiosity with lore files, recordings from past travelers, and optional upgrades. Safe zones function as hubs where players can save, manage inventory, upgrade their suit, enhance weapons, and trade resources using credits found throughout the world. These systems feed into a tight loop of exploration, tension, combat, and brief relief before being thrown back into danger. Combat is where Cronos establishes its most distinct mechanical identity. The Traveler's arsenal includes weapons like the sword, a standard pistol, the hammer, shotgun, and the javelin, automatic weapon, each with variations and upgrade paths. Enemies known as orphans come in numerous forms. Some dash aggressively, others crawl on walls or explode on contact, but all share a critical trait. If their bodies aren't burned after death, other orphans can merge with them, becoming faster, stronger, and far more dangerous. Fire is essential, whether through fire capsules, environmental hazards, or explosive barrels that can be manipulated using the game's anomaly tool. The ability to reverse time on environmental objects, such as restoring explosive barrels after detonation, adds a clever layer of tactical depth that rewards planning and situational awareness. This merging system creates constant pressure during encounters, forcing players to prioritize crowd control and resource management rather than raw damage output. It's a smart mechanic that reinforces the game's themes and keeps combat tense, though it sometimes feels underutilized. While effective, the burn and merge loop doesn't always evolve significantly, and some encounters could have pushed the idea further in more complex ways over the course of the game. There are also a few mechanical rough edges. Weapon upgrades often feel subtle to the point of being almost unnoticeable, especially early on, and progression can feel oddly gated. Certain terminals limit upgrades arbitrarily, only to allow further improvements later without much explanation. The endgame economy is intentionally stingy, which fits the survival horror tone, but it occasionally crosses into frustration. Utility tools and light puzzle mechanics, while serviceable, feel like missed opportunities for deeper interaction. The absence of features like a quick turn or manual flashlight control also stands out, making the character feel slightly less responsive than expected in a modern third-person horror game.
Don't shoot!
Visually, Cronos the New Dawn is striking. Its environments are drenched in Eastern European brutalism, layered with retro-futuristic technology and decaying biomass that pulses and spreads across walls and floors. The contrast between the cold geometry of the architecture and the organic horror of the orphans creates a consistently oppressive atmosphere. Enemy design is especially strong, with grotesque forms that feel unsettling without relying on cheap shock value. Boss encounters lean into scale and spectacle, surrounding the player with writhing flesh, industrial machinery, and overwhelming sound design. While the game had some technical issues at launch, performance on PS5, particularly when revisited later, runs smoothly, with stable frame rates and clean presentation. The audio design is one of the game's biggest strengths. Enemy screeches, the wet sounds of bodies merging, mechanical hums, and the traveler's heavy footsteps all blend seamlessly with an understated but effective soundtrack. The music leans into eerie synths and 80s-inspired techno elements, rising subtly during moments of tension and horror. It's the kind of soundscape that works almost subconsciously, reinforcing dread without constantly demanding attention. Cronos the New Dawn stands as one of Bloober Team's most confident and complete projects to date. While it has its share of minor frustrations, like uneven progression, underdeveloped mechanics, and a few quality of life omissions, the overall experience is cohesive, atmospheric, and thoughtfully designed. Its blend of survival horror, time travel, and philosophical storytelling feels fresh in a genre that often leans too heavily on familiar formulas. With strong visuals, excellent audio, a compelling narrative, and satisfying moment-to-moment gameplay, Cronos earns its place among the standout horror titles of the year. It's not flawless, but it's memorable, ambitious, and very easy to recommend, especially for fans of Dead Space, Resident Evil, and slower, more contemplative horror experiences.
I don't think we were designed the same way.
Designed. Sadly, I'm struck with a similar impression.
I give Cronos the New Dawn an 8.5 out of 10.
You really got affected by them.
Too late, I did.
Too late for what?
To do something about all that. But you still have a chance.